Driving in -71 degrees Celsius in Yakutia. What we experienced in the coldest inhabited place on Earth will shock you and change how you think about the limits of human survival and what it takes to live where the air itself can kill you. Picture stepping outside where the temperature is so cold that your breath instantly turns to ice crystals. Car engines refuse to start even with special heaters running all night, and exposed skin freezes solid in less than 2 minutes. This is not just cold weather, this is nature at its most hostile, where a single mistake can mean death, and normal life becomes an extreme survival challenge. But here is what makes driving in Yakutia so extraordinary. The locals have developed incredible techniques to survive conditions that would kill most people within hours. We are talking about cars that never turn off for months, special fuel that does not freeze, and driving methods that seem impossible, but are the only way to navigate roads where rubber tires can shatter like glass. The most shocking discovery came from learning how people actually live in these conditions. Children walk to school in temperatures that would shut down entire countries. Families maintain normal lives where a power outage means certain death, and communities thrive in an environment more hostile than Antarctica. How do people not just survive, but actually live normal lives in -71 degrees Celsius? And what secrets of extreme cold survival could save your life if you ever found yourself trapped in conditions where the Earth itself becomes your enemy? Source: Driving in -71 degrees Celsius in Yakutia, what we experienced in the coldest inhabited place on Earth will shock you and change how you think about the limits of human survival and what it takes to live where the air itself can kill you. In the kitchen, Diana moves quietly before dawn, careful not to wake the children just yet. The clock reads 6:30, but outside the window, darkness holds on tight. In Yakutsk, winter days offer less than 4 hours of sunlight, so every moment of warmth inside feels precious. Steam rises from a battered kettle, swirling in the cold air that seeps through the corners of the window frame. Diana's husband, Sergei, stands by the small stove, slicing thick bread with hands roughened by years of cold. He checks the firebox, feeding it another log, watching the flames catch. The stove is the heart of the home. Without it, the walls would surrender to the cold in minutes. Breakfast is a quiet ritual here. Diana cracks eggs into a heavy pan, adding cubes of frozen beef and a handful of potatoes. High-calorie meals aren't a luxury, they are a necessity, fueling bodies against the deep freeze outside. Each bite is planned to last through hours in the cold. On the table, a plate of pancakes waits, stacked high and steaming. The children will need every calorie for their journey to school. Sergei glances at the outside thermometer, -62 degrees Celsius. He pulls on his heavy boots, layers a second sweater beneath his shirt, and steps onto the porch for a quick look. The air bites instantly, stinging his cheeks and fogging his eyelashes with frost. Even the family dog, a thick-coated husky, hesitates before bounding into the yard. In this kind of cold, exposed skin freezes in under 2 minutes. Diana wipes her hands and peers through the small pane of glass above the kitchen sink. The world outside is silent and blue-black, street lamps casting halos in the drifting ice fog. She checks the time. Every minute counts. The children's commute to school must be timed perfectly so no one waits outside longer than necessary. Layering their clothes will take patience. Thermal base, wool sweater, thick coat, scarf, mittens, boots. It is a process that cannot be rushed, not here. Inside, the kitchen hums with quiet purpose. The warmth is fragile, held together by routine and vigilance. Diana pours tea, her hands steady, her eyes flicking between the stove and the window. Each morning in Yakutia begins like this, a race against the cold, measured in calories, minutes, and layers. The hush of the kitchen stands in sharp contrast to the danger just beyond the door, a small, stubborn island of warmth in a world where the air itself can kill. The door swings open and a blast of air, sharp as broken glass, sweeps into the hallway. Diana's oldest, Misha, tucks his scarf over his nose, leaving only a slit for his eyes. His little sister, Lena, follows behind, bundled so tightly that her arms barely bend at the elbows. The cold outside is a living thing, crawling into any gap in their layers, hunting for bare skin. The thermometer on the porch reads -50 degrees Celsius. In Yakutia, that number does not mean a day off. It means the morning walk to school begins exactly on time. On the street, the world hangs in a blue haze. Ice fog rolls low, swallowing sound, swallowing color. Each step crunches with a noise like breaking bones. The children's breath shoots out in clouds, instantly crystallizing into tiny needles that hang in the air. Lena's eyelashes are already white with frost. At this temperature, a glove forgotten or a scarf slipped down is an emergency. Skin freezes solid in less than 2 minutes. The children know this by heart. One quick dash from warmth to frostbite. Misha leads the way, glancing back every few meters to count his siblings, his mittened hand gripping Lena's. They pass other children, faces hidden behind wool and fur, all walking the same careful path. There is no running, no lingering to talk. The teacher, bundled in a heavy parka, stands at the end of the block, counting heads as each child appears from the fog. Her job is not just to teach math or reading. It is to make sure no one is left behind, no one slips and falls, no one's scarf drops and lets the cold in. She carries a whistle and a small emergency kit, thermal blankets, hand warmers, and a phone with a battery packed under her coat to keep it alive. In this weather, even technology surrenders quickly. The walk is short, but every second matters. The children keep moving, feet shuffling over ice, eyes on the glowing windows of the school ahead. Inside, the building is a shock of warmth, radiators humming, air thick with the smell of wet wool and hot tea. The teacher checks each face for red patches or pale spots, signs that the cold has gotten through. The classroom is a sanctuary, heated to 25 degrees, a world away from the deadly air just outside. Backpacks come off, coats are hung, and the children settle in for lessons, their cheeks tingling as they thaw. In Yakutia, the school run is not just a routine, it is a daily test of resilience, passed one careful step at a time. Source: driving in -71 degrees Celsius in Yakutia, what we experienced in the coldest inhabited place on Earth will shock you and change how you think about the limits of human survival and what it takes to live where the air itself can kill you. Picture stepping outside where the temperature is so cold that your breath instantly turns to ice crystals. Car engines refuse to start even with special heaters running all night, and exposed skin freezes solid in less than 2 minutes. This is not just cold weather. This is nature at its most hostile, where a single mistake can mean death and normal life becomes an extreme survival challenge. But here is what makes driving in Yakutia so extraordinary. The locals have developed incredible techniques to survive conditions that would kill most people within hours. We are talking about cars that never turn off for months, special fuel that does not freeze, and driving methods that seem impossible, but are the only way to navigate roads where rubber tires can shatter like glass. Inside the mechanic's workshop, the air smells of oil and cold metal. Sergey, a local mechanic, stands over a battered sedan, his hands already stained with grease. The temperature outside is -55 degrees Celsius, but in here, the work never slows. Every car in Yakutia needs to be winterized before the true cold arrives, and by late September, the line outside his shop stretches down the block. There is an urgency in the air. Everyone knows the October tire deadline is non-negotiable. Miss it, and the roads become a death trap. The process starts with the tires. Sergey swaps out summer rubber for thick, studded snow tires. He checks each one for cracks, because at these temperatures, ordinary rubber can shatter like glass. Next, he moves to the windows and glues a second windshield inside the front glass. This creates a pocket of air that blocks frost and wind, a trick perfected over decades. For the side windows, he presses clear plastic sheeting into place, sealing out drafts that would otherwise freeze the cabin solid. Under the hood, the real work begins. Sergei lines the engine compartment with thick felt, tacking it down with metal clips. This old-school insulation keeps the engine's warmth from bleeding away. He fits a leather sponge cover over the grille to block the Arctic wind from blasting through the radiator. Each step is deliberate, every layer a defense against the cold. Synthetic winter oil replaces the summer blend, thin enough to flow even at -50 degrees Celsius. He pours in anti-gel fuel additive and shakes the can to mix it thoroughly. Standard diesel would turn to jelly in hours, leaving the car useless until spring. He installs an engine blanket, tucking it tight around the block. Some families go further, using full-body insulated covers or even portable garages, but Sergei prefers the old methods: simple, proven, reliable. He checks the battery and swaps it for a fresh one if the voltage drops. In Yakutia, a weak battery is not just inconvenient, it is a risk no one can afford. Finally, Sergei tests the automatic starter. In the deep cold, this device wakes the engine 2 or 3 times a night, letting it run just long enough to keep from freezing. He sets the timer and listens as the engine turns over, the sound muffled by layers of insulation. Satisfied, he wipes his hands and moves on to the exhaust, attaching a temporary pipe to prevent ice from sealing it shut overnight. Each modification is a shield, every step a lesson learned from winters past. Here, winterization is not about comfort, it is about survival. By the time Sergei finishes, the car is transformed, armored against the cold, and ready to run for months without rest. In Yakutia, a car is not just a machine, it is a lifeline, and every detail matters. Engines in Yakutia do not get a break. Once winter clamps down, cars become living things, breathing and humming, never allowed to sleep. In the city, Sergei's garage is always busy. He wipes his hands on a rag and laughs. He shakes his head at the idea of shutting off a car in January. He says, "You kill it, you lose it." Outside, the street is lined with vehicles idling quietly, exhaust curling in the ice fog. Some have been running for weeks without a single pause. In the deepest cold, even a few hours of silence can mean disaster. Oil thickens, batteries die, fuel lines turn to jelly. At the fuel station, drivers top up with a special winter blend, diesel laced with anti-gel additives that stay liquid at -60 degrees Celsius. The pump handles are wrapped in rags to keep bare skin from freezing on contact. Every fill-up is a small act of defiance against the cold. Sergei checks his watch, watching the digital thermometer on a dashboard flicker between -54 degrees Celsius and -58 degrees Celsius. He listens for the automatic starter's faint click, a sound every Yakutian knows by heart. These remote starters are set to cycle the engine every few hours, even in the middle of the night. If the system fails, the car freezes solid. Mechanics call it a death sentence for the engine. Some drivers run their engines non-stop from October to April, only shutting down for quick oil changes or emergencies. The cost is staggering. Fuel bills double and sometimes triple. But the risk of being stranded is worse. In the countryside, a breakdown can mean waiting hours for help in air that will freeze exposed skin in less than 2 minutes. Sergei remembers a neighbor who tried to save money by switching off his truck overnight. By morning, the engine block was a solid lump of ice. It took 2 days and a portable heater to bring it back to life. Stories like that circulate around every shop and fuel station, reminders of what is at stake. Yakutian cars wear their survival like armor, thick felt under the hood, insulated covers over the grille, batteries wrapped in electric blankets. Every morning, drivers check the exhaust for ice, listen for misfires, and hope the next start is not the last. In this world, a car is more than transportation. It is a lifeline, a companion that must be kept warm and awake through the longest, coldest nights on Earth. A battery collapse in the Yakutian cold is more than an inconvenience. It's the start of a race against time. Sergei's morning takes a sharp turn when his neighbor's call comes through, her voice tight with worry. Her SUV, parked outside overnight, sits silent and dead, the engine block colder than ice, the battery drained to nothing. At minus 62 degrees Celsius, even the best batteries surrender in minutes. The chemical reactions that produce electricity slow to a crawl, voltage drops, and the starter motor clicks weakly, or not at all. No amount of coaxing will bring the car to life. Sergei grabs his insulated gloves and a battered toolbox. The cold snaps at his face as he steps outside, his breath turning to a cloud of ice. He knows the risk. Without a running engine, the car's fluids thicken and freeze, hoses crack, and the battery becomes a useless brick. He calls in a mobile thaw technician, one of the local specialists, whose van is fitted with portable heaters and heavy canvas tents. In Yakutia, these rescue crews are as essential as firemen. The technician arrives fast, moving with practiced urgency. He sets up a kerosene-powered heater beneath a tent draped over the hood, creating a pocket of warmth around the frozen engine bay. Kerosene is chosen for its low freezing point and steady heat, safe to burn even in sub-zero air. Inside the tent, the temperature climbs, melting frost from the battery terminals and coaxing oil back toward a liquid state. The technician checks his watch. Too much heat too quickly can crack metal or cause condensation inside the electronics. After nearly an hour, he signals Sergei to try the ignition. The engine stirs, coughs, and finally roars to life, exhaust curling up into the pale morning. Relief floods the small group. For a few minutes, the car is alive again, but everyone knows it is a fragile victory. In Yakutia, machines are only ever one cold snap away from total failure. The rescue is a reminder. Here, even the best preparations can be undone by a single missed start or a battery left unchecked. A sudden silence settles over the neighborhood as radiators cool and pipes begin to creak. Word travels fast. There is a problem at the district boiler. In Yakutia, even a few hours without heat is a crisis. Phones ring in every apartment. Elderly neighbors, keepers of old wisdom, guide the response with calm voices. Diana dials her mother-in-law, who remembers the blackout of 1996, and within minutes, a phone tree comes alive, connecting floor to floor, building to building. No one is left to face the cold alone. In the stairwell, families gather, bundled in layers. Sergei carries a bale of straw, a trick passed down from his grandfather. Straw is packed against the windows and doors, plugging every draft. Neighbors stuff towels into cracks, tape over vents, and drag thick rugs across the floors. Children help, their small hands wedging old newspapers into gaps beneath the sills. Someone brings extra firewood. Another shares a portable gas burner. The building becomes a hive of activity, everyone moving with purpose, each action a shield against the creeping cold. Outside, the thermometer drops further. Inside, breath fogs in the air, but the rooms hold their warmth. People cluster in kitchens, huddling together for shared body heat. Hot tea is passed from hand to hand, stories traded for comfort. The elders recall winters when outages lasted days, and how neighbors survived by sealing off rooms and sharing what little they had. Diana's youngest curls up beside her, wrapped in blankets, soothed by the steady murmur of familiar voices. 3 hours crawl by. At last, a deep rumble returns to the pipes. The boiler is back online. Radiators begin to tick and hiss, the chill chased from the walls. Relief washes through the building. Laughter rises, and the doors between apartments swing open. In Yakutia, survival is a team effort. When the cold presses in, the community presses closer, turning danger into a moment of unity and warmth. Right now, Yakutia's streets still hum with engines that never sleep, and children step outside into air colder than dry ice. As climate extremes intensify worldwide, the lessons forged here, resilience and adaptation, and relentless ingenuity, grow more urgent. When survival depends on what you do next, complacency is the real danger. The cold tests everything, but it is the will to adapt that endures. What would you do if the air turned against you?